Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Ariyuugghh. So nice to meet you. If you're returning, then hi, I miss you so much. You look so good today. I've got my matcha, my mic, my notes. And as you can tell by the title, I have labeled this new series that I'm doing Chick Chat. I don't know if the name's gonna stick or not. It's the first thing that came to me. I really liked it. It feels good. I don't know, I like it. If you have any other ideas, then let me know. But yeah, this is something that I've actually been wanting to do for a long time, and I feel like I never had the full idea of where I wanted my channel to go. I'm also going to be posting these on Spotify as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, then make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to hear more. I have so many fun topics. Like, I have so much big sister advice or just life advice, girlfriend advice, Christian big sister advice, stuff like that. I have so many things that I want to go over. But I thought to start this off, I might as well do like a pilot episode and kind of talk about myself if you don't know who I am or if you don't know anything about me. I am a full-time content creator, so I'm very comfortable like talking to a camera. But when it comes to a podcast, I have always wanted to do it. I just never had the huevos to do it. So now I do. I feel like I have a better idea of where I want it to go. I've been praying. I wanted to kind of introduce myself and just talk about who I am, why I want to do this. Oh, literally working as I'm doing this. First of all, my name's Ariyuugghh. I am a full-time content creator. Like I mentioned, I do TikTok, beauty, lifestyle, and fashion content, I would say. I am Christian. I'm actually getting baptized on Saturday, the 26th of this month, and I'm very passionate about it. It's something that I want to incorporate into my content and my work for sure. I've always liked doing lifestyle and life advice, self-improvement, self-growth, self-help. Went deep diving into studying psychology on human behavior, human emotions. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised in Austin, Texas. A year ago, yesterday actually, April 14th, I moved to Colorado. It was the first time that I ever got my own apartment by myself, paid for everything by myself. My mom and my grandpa and my now fiance, who I'll talk about in a little bit, drove with me from Texas to Colorado on a 2-day trip and just completely moved my entire life from Texas to Colorado at the age of 23. During the year 2022, I went through so much, which honestly is what started this whole entire transformation, like life change and journey that I've been on. And it's been nothing but amazing. I've definitely learned a lot. I've been through a lot. I don't want to be corny, but I definitely have been through way more than a 24-year-old woman should have gone through. But I've also carried myself very well and eloquently and elegantly through everything. So I love sharing any advice that I can. That was one of the first things that kind of took off for me when I started doing TikTok, just like for fun, is I would go live and I would do advice lives and I would just write giving advice on anything. And it would get up to like 600 people in less than an hour, just people spamming, asking me for advice. And it was actually really cool, but it's just something that I've always loved to do, is just talk about how to better yourself or just give my experience in life and hopefully help someone else. I live here in Colorado with my fiance. We are about to hit 2 years. I truly believe that he is a God-sent man for me. We have had our ups and downs. Obviously, we got engaged really early. We started dating really early. We met at a time that we both were not wanting anybody. So I think that plays a huge part in why we met. And I'm just so in love with him. I appreciate him so much. He is such an amazing man and he tries every day. Every day he tries. I feel so lucky. Another thing is I have 2 fur babies. They are my favorite things in the world. I have a 9-year-old Havanese named Kenai, and then I have a 7-year-old pug dachshund mix named Zuko. I'm obsessed with them so much. They're my babies. Fun fact, Zuko actually won Pet of the Month for my apartment complex this month, and I'm like so proud. I'm like a proud little mom. My ethnicity is something that I get asked about a lot. And I used to just say Vietnamese and Irish. And I swear, if you ever do one of those DNA tests, it's so hard to just belittle your race, ethnicity, nationality, stuff like that once you see it. Funny thing is, I actually ended up finding out I'm more Korean than I am Vietnamese, and I'm more German than I am Irish. Way more German than I am Irish, weirdly. Yeah, so I literally just say I'm a Viet Korean, German, French, because that's like my top ones, but they're like really close. So I don't know. I'm just a mutt. When I was 21, I got my cosmetology license, and I had a nail business for, I want to say 2 years, but I did nails for like 5. It was called Ariyuuggh's Nails. Very creative, I know. That is where I thought my life was going to like go. Like I thought that was endgame. I thought I was going to be a nail tech forever, that I was just going to do nail art and build my clientele and then just eventually get a salon for myself, like stuff like that. And once I decided I was going to change my life and just move out of Texas and not tell anybody about it, I also realized that I had lost my passion for being a nail artist. And that was something that was really hard because I had to let go of so many friendships and relationships that have built up for me over the span of doing nails. Like I have so many clients. I had so many clients that were like friends. Like I would genuinely just love to have them sit in my chair and talk to them. And sometimes the appointments would run way longer than they needed to because we were just talking and having a good time. But I remember whenever I told a lot of my clients about me moving, they were, of course, really sad, but because they were such amazing people, they were so supportive and just understood because they had been seeing and been being updated about what I had been going through that kind of led me to this whole life change in 2022. That's kind of like a backstory of who I am. I'm sure there will be more to talk about. But yeah, so this first episode is going to be about restarting your life and my personal story. My focus for this podcast and series and chick chat, just whatever, is just to help someone. Like if at some point during one of these episodes you're listening and something I say helps you in a decision, in a feeling, in a question that you've been thinking about or a direction to go, like that's my goal, is just to kind of chat and help someone out. And let's backtrack to 2022 when I started this whole life change, and I'll go into like what that all entails. This is something that I actually talk about a lot just because it's one of the biggest decisions I've ever made for myself, and it was a very big decision. It caused a lot of change, and so many people that have either known me personally or have followed me since this time are just always asking me like how I did it. Before 2022, I was in a long-term relationship. I'm sure there's so many people on here that might relate to this, but I was in a 8-year relationship with my ex, who I was engaged to. We were engaged for 2 years. It was the typical, met in high school, were best friends, messed around, had feelings for each other. This is something that like I struggle with talking about just because it was such an impactful thing, and being on my walk with God, it's just something that I struggle with, is re-experiencing all of these memories and emotions about this specific situation. Even though it led me to where I am now and I'm so grateful for it, it's still kind of just like, oh, that sucks, to remember. And then it just kind of gets your blood boiling, or just like anxiety. I don't know, but I wouldn't go back and change a thing. I really wouldn't. Like, I'm so grateful that everything happened. I'm grateful for the relationship even. Like, I know so much about that relationship that I didn't know while I was in it, and that does suck. But just being able to say that like I'm no longer in that part of my life and just that person that I used to be, like it's a blessing, but it sucks to remember. Yeah, my ex and I were in a relationship since we were like 15. I don't even remember when it was made official. And I think we had just gotten caught up in feeling like we had to stay together. There were so many moments where we should have broken up. Like it should have ended. It was not a healthy relationship. Yeah, there were some fun times, but it was not a mutually beneficial relationship. And I'm the kind of person that once I've decided something when it comes to like my feelings or the direction that I need to go or decision I need to make, once I have fully accepted that, whatever it may be, it's like it's set. There's no changing it. There's no being convinced otherwise. It's like once I've reached my limit with something and I know what to do next for myself, I'm gonna do it. So without like being too in detail, my mom was actually the first person I told the day before I broke off that relationship. And I remember it so vividly. We were in the parking lot of a Planet Fitness and I was like having a bad day. My car was giving me troubles, and she met me in the parking lot to kind of see what was going on, see if she could help me. I remember not wanting to go home, and you know, moms can always tell. So my mom and I started talking, and I told her, I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I think I'm gonna end things with you know who. What's crazy is that she even knew, like she could see it in me. She could see that light fading. She could see my heart just getting colder and colder over time. And she loved my ex, you know, like she thought we were endgame too and everything. But something that I would do, which I now would not recommend, anytime someone would ask me how I was doing, like in my relationship, I would always say good, that things were perfect. I would never let anyone else know that things were rocky or bad or unsafe or dangerous or unfaithful, like things like that. I would never let anyone else know that because I didn't want to embarrass my partner. In the long run, that was embarrassing myself. Obviously, don't gossip about your partner. Like if it's something that you and your partner can handle on your own and it's just an everyday relationship issue, I don't think that needs to be gossiped about. But things that I was keeping secret definitely needed to come out, and I feel like if they had come out sooner, it would have been a whole different story, but that's not the point. I remember telling my mom what I had decided, and she was there to fully support me. I think the hardest thing about making this huge decision was knowing that I would be giving up so much of my life. And this is something I still struggle with to this day. Like I was even talking about this with my fiance. His name is Jaime. I'll just name drop right now. I was talking about this with my fiance Jaime about that I still have guilt and unresolved feelings when it comes to my ex's family because his family had become my family. This is something that like I'm currently experiencing. I do think it's because I have recently prayed a lot about just if God could reveal to me things that I need to work on or release or just bring to light things that I've been like hiding and not realizing, especially since I'm about to get baptized. I want to work on these things, and this was one of them. So that's kind of why it's being brought up right now. But yeah, so that is something that was really hard, and it is something that comes with restarting your life, is having to let go of your current life or your previous life if you're already on this journey. I felt so guilty because, you know, my ex's family, they had no idea what their relative was doing in their relationship with me. Like they didn't know the behind the scenes. They thought everything was great. Then one day I just decided to leave, and that's what it looked like to everybody else instead of, you know, knowing what was actually going on. And so there is a part of me that is currently working on not feeling guilty for hurting people of that family or just thinking that I hurt people of that family. Like for all I know, they could hate me. For all I know, they couldn't care less about me. For all I know, they could miss me. I don't know. But I have this guilt, and it is something that comes with restarting your life when saying goodbye to your old one, is having this guilt of hurting people in the process. It is unfortunately going to happen. When you choose yourself, 99% of the time, you are going to end up hurting someone else when choosing yourself. Anyways, so after I, you know, broke off that relationship, it was just so messy. Like it honestly took maybe 6 months for it to like dissolve, get to a point where like my life was finally starting to move forward and restart and just get adjusted to this new normal. My mom and my best friend actually had helped me move all of my belongings out of my apartment with my ex in 2 days. I moved back home with my mom and my grandpa. I lived in an RV for a short period of time in the driveway of my childhood home. Didn't have a working bathroom. It was all broken down. The floors weren't even like fully installed. It was a whole crazy thing. There was just no room in the house, but that was just like so crazy to me because I went from having this really nice apartment and like being used to having my own place since I was 18 to living in a driveway in a rundown RV. It definitely does not start off amazing. Like, it was a lot of trials and tribulations restarting, but it was just also necessary. And like, now that I've gotten through it, I'm so grateful for every single part of it, even the parts where I was like breaking down crying, thinking that nothing was going to happen, like nothing good was going to happen, or thinking I made a mistake, stuff like that. I lived back at home with my family for 2 years, and in the midst of that 2 years, I feel like everyone goes down a different route when it comes to being post breakup. For me, I went down the route of like being obsessed with the gym and then being obsessed with psychology. So I'm not mad at the route that I went down after a breakup. I've only ever been in like one relationship prior to this one that I just broke off, and the other one was a whole different story. Way too traumatic to talk about right now. Yeah, so I became like this giant gym rat. I got really jacked and ended up thinking that my goal was to be a bodybuilder. I was even like considering prepping for comps. All of my friends were just other gym rats that worked at the gym that I went to or that went there. Like, I was one of the regular gym rats, and it honestly was really great. Like, I was really healthy. My time was just being spent working on myself and working out. When I wasn't at the gym, I was either doing nail clients, or I would go to a cafe and I would like read psychology and take notes, or I'd be at work. And I worked at a med spa in Austin, which loved that job. Like, so grateful for the people there. I made so many friends there. The people and the bosses, just absolutely loved it. I do want to bring like my faith into this because it is a big impact on it. I remember I had started to have experiences with God and feeling the Holy Spirit and just signs, and I genuinely believed that God was trying to chase me, and he was using people in my life as like seed planters. I've never been shielded from any type of religion. I grew up around a lot of different religions. I've been in Catholic churches, Christian churches, agnostic, atheist, Christian again. I was Buddhist for 4 years, and then in the midst of being Buddhist, I was experiencing so many signs that were related to God, whether it was like videos, pictures, people in my life just talking about their faith and relationship with Christ. And I was in such a mindset of being angry at Christianity, and looking back, I was not angry with God. I was angry with the church and with the hypocrisy in Christianity and just in religion in general. And I used that to be my base of Christ. And it's because I didn't know any better. With these like overwhelming amount of signs of God trying to chase me and giving me all these like little things that would only make sense to me, I started to get like angry and would just keep running away from him. I remember the last seed planter was my fiance. We actually met on TikTok of all places, and it was a point in my life where I was like in my I hate men era and didn't want anything to do with a partner. I didn't want a relationship. I was like really happy being single, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I get to spend time on myself. I get to focus on myself. I don't have to answer to anybody. I'm not worried if I'm being cheated on. I'm not like paranoid if someone's flirting with me or just all kinds of stuff. You know, like, I was thriving being single, and I was so happy. I did not want it to change. And then out of nowhere, my fiance and I meet through TikTok, and he was in the same boat. Like, he was not wanting anything, and it was just so weird. It's like we could not connect. I don't know, but he was the last seed planter. And a little bit after I had met him and we were just talking, getting to know each other, I remember there was this one night where God had just answered me, and I was like crying out to him in prayer, and just one of the lowest moments I had in a long time. Unless you're Christian and have experienced this, it's not going to make sense, but I was in my car in front of my house late at night crying, and like I was at a point where I wanted to give up, you know what I mean? And I remember just crying out to him, and the pain was just so intense and it hurt so bad. Like, my heart was physically just hurting. I just wanted it to stop. And I remember crying. I was like, God, please make it stop. And as I said that, this song came on my radio, which was so weird because my radio only worked if I had it plugged in. And it came on, and the song was this old worship song that I used to listen to when I thought that I was Christian. And it was the only song that I like truly enjoyed and would still listen to. And it came on. Mind you, like I said, did not make sense. Like, it did not make sense how it could have came on because my radio wasn't plugged in. And then I just felt the most warm feeling ever. It felt like a hug from behind. I felt like I was being watched over. I felt protected. I felt safe. That was one out of two experiences that I had with the Lord that it kind of just scared me at the moment. Like, I remember in that moment I was so confused and my tears were still coming out, but I was like a stone. Like, I couldn't move. I didn't understand. I wasn't even crying anymore, but tears were coming out. I was just in shock staring at the song playing on my radio. And then I just silently went inside and went to sleep. Fast forward, I just had gotten so many confirmations and I was truly a follower of Christ and I believed in him and I just went all in. I gave my life to him. I gave him control. I trusted him. I would pray and I would truly believe that my prayers were being heard and that they would be answered. And the more and more that I grew in my relationship with God, I was just given more and more confirmations that moving to Colorado was the next step for me. And as much as I was scared, I was terrified of leaving my mom, my family, my whole life. I've never lived on my own before. And then I'm like, I'm just going to leave my family and move to a different state by myself. Like, what am I thinking? But I don't know. I just trusted God and that was where it took me. And here I am now. It's been amazing. Like, God has completely taken care of me. I would not have followed through with this decision if it weren't for God. So that is something that I wanted to include, is that God has a big impact on why I'm here and why I was so confident in restarting my life. I just knew he would take care of me and, hold my hand through it all. So the way that I did it is I actually started grinding on TikTok and just it took off for me. It worked out really well. It was all glory to God. All my prayers got answered. I was for the first time in my life financially stable. I found an apartment in Colorado. I did video calls and video tours over, online emails and stuff. I got approved for the apartment. I figured out moving stuff. I started buying things for my future apartment. During this time, I even bought myself my first car. Just literally, once I accepted Christ, my whole life changed. I was just letting God take control. Everything was just, it would be presented to me or I'd have an idea. I'd pray about it. If it was from God, in his will for me, it would happen and it has been beneficial. Yeah, so I got my lease signed and oh my gosh, it was just one of the craziest things. I actually have this whole thing vlogged on my YouTube channel, so if you are curious, you can see that. Because I started documenting from the moment I decided that I was going to move. Moving here was really easy. It actually was just, it's a lot easier than you think. It's just more of a mental and emotional challenge than anything. I mean, once you get the finances and stuff figured out, then emotionally and mentally, it's a lot on you because you have to really be ready and prepared to let go of your past. And sometimes that's not even going to happen. As I've been here, I've realized that there are things from my past that I've had to let go of and didn't even realize that I didn't let go of yet. It's a huge roller coaster when it comes to that entire thing. I definitely don't want to say that I was running away from my past, and I don't want to give off that idea that that's what I'm recommending. I was just at a point where I realized that the growth that I saw myself having or needing could not be experienced where I was at and in Texas and 20 minutes away from my past family that I just broke up with. It takes a lot. Sometimes you're not going to be ready. Sometimes you just have to do it. But I think just praying about it and really trusting you're doing what's good for you and giving it your all, putting yourself first, that is something that is going to be one of the hardest parts about restarting, is choosing yourself if that's not something that you did before. If you are normally a people pleaser or someone that doesn't know how to set boundaries, try learning that before you just up and leave, because that is something that is so necessary to have when restarting your life. Because if you restart without the ability to set boundaries or know your worth or be able to have independence in your own self, it's going to be really hard. That is something that I want people to know before they go and try this whole journey. I do want to talk about things that I wish I knew before doing this whole thing and things that I've learned since doing it. Things that I definitely recommend is figuring out every single thing that you are going to need to pay for when it comes to restarting your life, whether that's restarting in a new home, in a new city, in a new relationship, in a new like identity rebrand kind of thing. Like for me, writing things down is really good. Like visually writing things down is what helps me the most. Having like a game plan of where you're wanting to go or how you're going to complete things, and then writing down the costs too, because having a number to focus on helps you when it comes to budgeting and how you spend your money, how you move forward in your daily life. And it might not sound like it does, but trust me, having a number to focus on saving up to is going to help you following once you've decided that number. And for me, something that I would do that super prepared me, and I am so grateful that I did it, is that I would get all these numbers that I would need to save for, and I would add like 100 to 200 more to each amount. By the time that I had fully everything, I had way more than I needed. And it's just something that I've still to this day done. Like I will overly save and overly prepare for something, and it never backfires on me. For example, I had my entire lease's worth of rent. I added it all up and I wrote exactly how much it would be for the entire lease. And then I saved around like, I don't remember fully, but like I think I saved around like 5 to 10 grand extra. And to me, that was exactly what I needed. But in reality, I had way more than I needed. And I was like overly prepared in case an emergency happened, in case I needed to buy something for my home, or in case I just wanted to redecorate. Like I had so much extra because I overly prepared and overly saved. And because I had these numbers written down and was able to look at them and then do what I wanted with them, if that makes sense. When it's your first place, like say you're restarting your life by moving into a new place, if you can get hand-me-downs, take advantage of that. Like do not get stuck and trap yourself in the mindset of like, I want everything new, I want everything to match right away. You can get that over time, or you can slowly start getting things before you move. So like I would have totes full of cleaning supplies, dishes, decorations, and I would start those totes months before I was supposed to move, so that when I did move, I could just open the tote and stock my kitchen with things that I've been buying over time. And sometimes those totes had hand-me-downs, sometimes those totes had new things that I got, but it just saved me so much, so that when I was in my apartment for the first time, I was able to just unpack instead of like go out and buy and then bring home and then open and then load, you know what I mean? So definitely, number one, take advantage of hand-me-downs while you can. And then number two, start preparing your apartment and start buying and stocking your apartment way before you move in, before you even get the keys. I'm a big fan of like romanticizing things just because it is fun to do. It's good for you. But I do want to be honest, like restarting your life isn't a pretty timeline. It's full of a lot of emotions, whether they're good, bad, confusing, stressful, relief, all kinds of things. It's just full of just a roller coaster of emotions. It's so rewarding, but I do want to be so transparent. Like, don't get caught up in this romanticized version of a super big transition and adjustment. Like, there were moments where I was feeling like I was on cloud nine, restarting, everything was brand new, like I was in a new place, new people, new mindset, all that stuff. But then there was moments where I was like breaking down crying because I was freaking out over everything I just listed as well. Adjusting to restarting your life is really confusing. For the first like month, I would say I was paranoid about being like an outcast, or feeling like I was in this imposter syndrome, because you're figuring out who you are, you're restarting everything. And I think I got stuck in like, who even am I? Like, why am I acting like this? Like, this is not me. But it was me. I just didn't know her yet. And then adjusting to seeing different things, or like thinking differently about things that you used to think one way about them, talking differently, carrying yourself differently, viewing people and like boundaries and morals differently. Like, it's a huge adjustment period that you have to go through, and it's going to be tough, but just stick with it. It's so rewarding. It's so mandatory when it comes to doing this for yourself and just experiencing this or living through this. You are going to have an adjustment period. And for me, it took like 3 to 6 months before I realized that I was going through that period. So like it's gonna be an adjustment and it's gonna be a journey. Everyone's timeline is different. You may not even have an adjustment period. Like you may just be so excited to just restart. Who knows? But that is something that I dealt with, so I wanted to share that. I did struggle a lot with loneliness. That was something that was super hard because restarting, for me personally, I cut off anyone from my past that I wasn't talking to daily or that wasn't checking in on me, and vice versa. You know, like if it was just someone that we just followed each other on social media, respectfully didn't care about their life and they didn't care about mine, like we just couldn't care less about each other, I cut them off. Like I removed them from social media. I didn't talk to them. There was no need for me to do that. And that was something that, even though it was so necessary for me to do, and I think it's a very beneficial thing to do, you know, it makes you very lonely because I ended up following like 3 people on Instagram and didn't use social media that much. I didn't talk to anybody. I was fully like invested in myself. But the moments where I was like, okay, I don't have any more energy for myself, I had no one else to give energy to or to watch online. Like I couldn't brain rot because I didn't allow myself to. There were so many times and so many nights where I was like, I am so lonely, and it like sent me into panic a little bit. But the anxiety and loneliness that you get from restarting and just like letting go of your past and letting your old self die, it's hard. I won't lie. For me, it was really hard. You feel like you're completely alone. You feel like you have no one to go to because you don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you need. It's all new. Even though it was rough and it was really hard, I still would not change it for the world. It's so necessary. And I don't mean to scare anybody if I'm saying anything that is scary or intimidating, but it's just the reality of what I went through. But like I said, I am so grateful that I thugged out that loneliness and that anxiety and those nights of just like wondering if I was doing the right thing. Like I just thugged it out and I trusted God. I trusted myself and just let it play out. I just like rode the wave and it worked out perfectly. I just, you know, sometimes you have to let yourself be so low to be able to appreciate when you're like way higher. I don't want to say that I like firmly believe this, but I personally don't think that there are many cons to restarting your life if you're doing it for the right reasons. Like there's so many pros that I can look back on that were just such opportunities for me instead of things that held me back. Like I've made some friends here that actually were my first neighbors in my apartment, and they're like family now. Like literally tomorrow my fiance and I are going to go dye Easter eggs with them, and their 2 pets are my niece and nephew. Like I'm so grateful for them, and I was able to introduce myself to them and show them a new version of me that doesn't have all this weight from my past. And they didn't know who I was back in Texas and who I've shed since leaving Texas. Like they know me. They know Ariyuugghh in Colorado, living on her own, supporting herself, full-time content creator, like girly instead of tomboy. Like they know me instead of who I used to be. And when I carry myself around Colorado, like I remember when I first lived here, I loved talking to people and like interacting with people in public because these people have no idea who I am. They've never seen me before. So I was able to show everywhere I went, I was able to show who I wanted to show. And I didn't have to tell anyone my past. I didn't have to like run into someone that I used to know and have to like catch up with them or answer questions like, oh, what happened to this? Or like, where's this person? Like, what have you been up to? I didn't have to update anybody. I was just starting with everybody. It was just so nice. It was so refreshing. I wasn't like seeing things that reminded me of negative memories or my past, or just like everything was new. And it was so nice. It was so amazing. And leaving your hometown is something I recommend for everybody, at least for a year. And I got this advice from someone else when I was like wondering if I should move or not. And I firmly believe that like you can't grow in the same place that you've grown up in. It's really hard. It's really hard to grow in a place that you've been stuck your whole life. Overall, I'm so grateful for everything that I put myself through. I very proudly tell this story. Even though it gives me a little bit of anxiety, I'm very proud of everything that I've dealt with up to this moment right now, and just the opportunities that I've allowed myself to experience, and the personality that I have shed, the people that I've met, the way that I've carried myself, the things I've learned, like the struggles that I've faced and overcome. I'm so proud to talk about, because it's easy to watch someone else restart their life, but when you do it for yourself in your own life, it's a whole different story. So it's something that I think you should look forward to. If it's something that you're considering, then pray about it. Talk to the universe. Whatever you believe in, just seek guidance and trust it. Trust your gut. Trust yourself through this whole process. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. If it's something that you're currently going through, then keep thugging it out. Like, keep going. It will get better, and just keep trusting yourself. If you see yourself falling back into old habits, just try and catch it, unless it's, a habit that you want. But normally when you're restarting, I imagine you're trying to shed all that. So just, use your best judgment. Invest in yourself. You are your biggest investment. If restarting your life is what is needed, then go for it. Like, figure out what you need to do and go for it. Anyways, yeah, I think I'm going to cut off that episode here. If you like it, then if you're on YouTube, like the video, comment, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, then rate the podcast. I'm not too sure how Spotify works yet, but just, show your support. Show me that you like this. I definitely plan on posting more. I already have my next episodes planned, but I love you guys so much. I hope someone got something out of this. I will see you guys soon. I love you.